Hello, everyone. I hope you are all well. If you want to learn English better and speak fluently, then this video is for you because it contains many daily useful sentences that we use in everyday life. Practice these sentences, repeat them, and listen carefully. Now, let's start.
Danny Ray was born in a little town called Millhaven, Tennessee. Population 800, one stoplight, one niner, one road in, and one road out. His mama worked the early shift at the laundromat, 6 days a week, rain or shine. His daddy had left before Danny could walk. There was no trust fund, no backup plan, no safety net. Just a small house with a leaky roof, a mama who never complained, and a little boy who watched everything she did and decided, real quiet, real deep inside, someday I'm gonna make this easier for her. He was 6 years old when he made that promise to himself. 6 years old and already carrying something bigger than most grown men ever pick up. That right there, that is where the story really starts. Not with money, not with luck, with a 6-year-old boy and a quiet, unbreakable promise.
By the time Danny was 10, he had a little operation going. Every Saturday morning, he walked the neighborhood with a rake, a bucket, and a handwritten sign that said, "Yards cleaned, $2." $2. That's what he charged. The neighbors thought it was cute. They'd hand him the $2 and a glass of sweet tea and send him on his way. But Danny was keeping track of every single dollar. He had a shoebox under his bed. Inside that shoebox was a folded piece of notebook paper, and on that paper he wrote down every dollar he earned and every dollar he spent. He didn't learn that in school. He just figured, if money matters, you better know where it's going. 10 years old, already thinking like a man twice his age. By the end of that summer, Danny had saved $47. He gave 30 of it to his mama. She cried. She cried. And he stood there, this little boy with dirt on his sneakers and pride in his chest. "It's okay, Mama. I'm gonna take care of us." And he meant every single word. When Danny was 15, his mama got sick. Nothing that took her fast. Just the kind of tired that builds up in a person who works too hard for too many years without rest. Her hands started hurting. Then her back. Then the doctor visits started stacking up. Danny kept going to school. And after school, he worked. He got a job bussing tables at the diner on Main Street. 4 nights a week, $7 an hour, coming home smelling like grease and coffee at 10 o'clock at night. Then he'd sit at the kitchen table, open his textbooks, and study. Did he complain? He did not. Did he feel sorry for himself? He did not. Because Danny had learned something from watching his mama. The work doesn't care how you feel. So you show up anyway. Some nights were hard. Some nights he sat in that kitchen at midnight, pencil in hand, eyes burning, and he just wanted someone to tell him it was going to be okay. Nobody did. So he told himself. He looked at that shoebox under his bed, now with a little more money in it, and he made a new promise. I am not stopping. Not now. Not ever. Danny graduated high school with a 3.8 GPA. He had no money for college, but he had something better. He had a record. Every job he ever worked, every boss he ever had, every neighbor whose yard he raked, they all remembered Danny Ray. They remembered a kid who showed up early, stayed late,
never had to be told twice, and always, always left things better than he found them. The owner of the diner, a man named Mr. Harold Webb, called Danny into his office 2 weeks after graduation. Danny sat across the desk from this man who had watched him bus tables for 3 years, and Mr. Webb said, "Danny, I'm opening a second location across town. I want you to run it." Danny was 18 years old. No degree, no formal training, no experience running anything. But he had something no classroom could give him. He had 3 years of showing up. He said yes. Of course he said yes. And on the first day that second diner opened its doors, Danny Ray was standing out front at 5:30 in the morning, keys in hand, ready to go. The kid born with nothing was now running something. Danny ran that diner like it was his, because in every way that mattered, it was. He knew every employee's name. He knew who was saving for college, who had a sick parent at home, who needed a little extra on a slow week. He ran it the way his mama had raised him, with honesty, with care, and with the understanding that the people around you are not just workers, they're people. Within 2 years, that second location was the highest performing diner Mr. Webb had ever owned. Within 5 years, Danny had saved enough, working and budgeting and living carefully, to buy his own place. A small sandwich shop on the east side of town. Nothing fancy. 6 tables, a counter, and a chalkboard menu. But it was his. His name on the door. His name on the lease. His name on the business license hanging on the wall. The boy who grew up with nothing had his name on a building. He called his mama that morning. She picked up on the first ring. He said, "Mama, I want you to come see something." She walked through that door, looked around, looked at the chalkboard, looked at the counter, and then she looked at her son. "You did this," she said. "You did this all by yourself." Danny shook his head. "No, Mama," he said. "I did this because of you." She cried again, just like she had all those years ago when a 10-year-old boy handed her $30 from a shoebox. But this time Danny cried too, because he understood something, standing in that little sandwich shop, that he hadn't been able to put into words before. Everything he had built was made from love, and that made it worth more than anything money could measure. Today, Danny Ray owns 3 restaurants in Millhaven, Tennessee. He employs 41 people, 22 of whom are young people from the same kind of neighborhoods he grew up in. He pays them well, he trains them himself, and every single one of them has heard the same speech on their first day. You don't need to have started with something to end up with everything. You just need to show up and mean it every single day. His mama doesn't work anymore. She lives in a little house Danny bought her, 2 streets away from where they used to live, with a garden in the backyard and all the time in the world to fill it. She told the neighbors she always knew he'd do it. Mamas always know. Danny Ray didn't have a head start. He didn't have a leg up. He didn't have a rich uncle, a scholarship, or a lucky break that changed everything overnight. He had a leaky roof, a tired mama, a shoebox full of dollar bills, and a promise he made to himself when he was 6 years old. And he kept that promise. Every single day, he kept that promise. That is the whole secret. Not talent, not luck, not the right family or the right zip code. Just a person who decided, quietly, firmly, and for good, that where they started was not where they were going to stay. Maybe that person is you. Maybe you're sitting right now in your own version of that little house in Millhaven. Maybe things are tight. Maybe it's hard. Maybe nobody around you is making it look easy. It doesn't matter where you are right now.
It only matters what you decide to do next.
If Danny's story moved something in you today, if you heard something in this that felt like it was meant for you, I want you to do one simple thing. Write in the comments, what is your promise? Not a goal, not a plan, a promise. The thing you're committing to, starting today, not tomorrow, that nobody can take away from you. Write it, make it real, because a promise you write down is one you're far more likely to keep. And if these kinds of stories, real, American, from the ground up stories about people who refuse to quit, if these stories are the kind of thing that fuels you, then this channel was made for you. Hit subscribe so you never miss one, and share this story with one person in your life who needs to hear it today. You know exactly who that person is. Go send it to them right now.